Welcome back to Spoiling Movies, you guys. My name is Chris. I'm going to tell you about a movie I just watched. I'm going to tell you everything that happened. I'm going to spoil it. This week's movie is Ready Player One. I'm going to give you my pre-spoiler opinion. It was a pretty fun movie. Probably better for younger kids or young adult kids. It was based on a novel. It was fun, very very visually crazy and entertaining. But the story itself was a little more childlike, and probably kids would enjoy it more than I did, even though I did enjoy it. I would recommend it. I think it's a fun movie. This dude, Wade Watts, lives in a place called the Stacks, which are just like houses stacked on top of each other. They immediately start playing Van Halen's Jump, Go Ahead and Jump. He's living with his aunt and uncle. He's given exposition about how his life is kind of shitty in the Stacks. But we have this place called the Oasis, which is this virtual reality place that we can all go to. He has his own special little secret place where he does his Oasis gaming, like abandoned van somewhere in the Stacks, and he puts all on his thing, and he explains to us as we go into it. It's this place where anything can happen. You can be whoever you want. Like the money you spend in the game also relates to real life. If you go and walk around and spend some money to buy some shit in the game, that will come to you in real life. He says he's got this friend named H. We find out that the guy that created the Oasis, Halliday, he dies, and he leaves a big old message for everybody about these Easter eggs that he's put in the game. And whoever is able to find those Easter eggs, they'll be the ones in charge of the entire Oasis. In the game world, you can be Batman, you can be Harley Quinn, you could be a fucking Iron Giant, you could be a Battletoad, you could be a Ninja Turtles, you could be anything you can think of. There's this group of people called the Sixers, and they work for a company called IOI in the real world. They're working for a big corporation that's run by Ben Mendelsohn, the perpetual villain of movies. The big first event thing to get the first key is a race. So at the beginning of the race, his friend H has like the Bigfoot monster truck, and he's got the DeLorean, and somebody's like racing ahead of him, and they've got like the Akira, the bike, the motorcycle from Akira. You see King Kong shows up, and he's lumbering around, and he's bashing people and like blocking their paths and whatever. He gets to the end. He notices that the other fucking Akira bike lady is about to run in. He grabs her and says, "No, don't get up there." Kong, like, fucking smashes. They bring Akira bike girl into a workshop into the Oasis. We see the Iron Giant in the background. Apparently, H is working on making an Iron Giant that she can use in the game. Wade is fangirling all over fucking Akira bike girl. She's kind of a dick. She's a turd. He asks her a bunch of questions about, like, yeah, if you're such a fucking, if you know so much, what about this? What about this? He's like, using like game knowledge and fucking pop culture knowledge, like, oh, you're not cool unless you know these things. H fixes her bike, and she goes on. Later, turd girl. Wade goes back to his real life place that he lives, and his uncle is a shitty bastard, and is like, you told me I could do this kind of thing, and you fucking screwed me. I lost a bunch of coin because of you, whatever. And the aunt is also kind of just a shitty, boring person. I assume the book was better. So apparently there's this place that has like Halliday, the guy that created the Oasis, like you can go into his mind and his memories in this Oasis game realm where it's like a museum of things that he said and did. So they go there and there's like this robot butler guy that tells them, "Oh, what would you like to? Oh, you're back again, Wade. What is it this time?" He's like kind of a dick. So he goes and looks at like specific memory, like Halliday talking to his former partner or whatever, who was Simon Pegg. They're like going through his specific memory, and he says something about like, I wish we could go backwards. I wish we'd just go backwards as fast as we can. Bill and Ted did it, and so he's like, that's it. That's the key. So Wade goes back to the race, uses his DeLorean. As soon as they say go, everybody else goes. He decides to go backwards, just straight backwards, and a little pathway opens, and it goes like underneath a bunch of the other game shit, and it looks really cool. And King Kong like sees him and is like bashing, like, but he can't do anything because he's actually doing what they're supposed to do. All the way fucking backwards. He goes into this little circle thing, and the Halliday's avatar thing meets him and is like, "Wow, you're the first one that's ever figured out the challenge. Good for you. Here's the key." Beedly deedly dee. And then they go into like a boardroom with bad guy Mendelsohn talking to his group of cronies, And he's like, what we're going to do is we're going to put ads on everything. And it's like just his idea is just to put ads all over the screen and you can barely see what's happening with the game. And apparently Wade getting the key put him on a leaderboard that nobody had been on yet, but he's got a bunch of like credits or whatever. So he goes into this virtual world looking around and he decides to buy like a holy hand grenade. That's a reference. And there's like a Rubik's Cube that they call like the Zemeckis Cube. That's a reference. References. Wade buys himself a suit that in the real world he wears this suit that anything in the game he can feel it physically. And then Ben Mendelsohn's 3D virtual world avatar meets TJ Miller, who's this really cool looking character that just says goofy things, and I hate it. Every time TJ Miller talks in this, it's almost like this is when you're supposed to laugh because it's not what you expect from this character, but it's just TJ Miller being a douchebag. TJ Miller gives Ben Mendelsohn's businessman avatar a magical thing, makes a shield around a bunch of stuff, and there's no way you can get around it unless you know the secret words. So since Wade figured out how to get that key and go backwards during the race, he tells all his friends, so all his little douchebag friends in the game are able to go, get the key, get on the leaderboard. Wade goes back to the weird Halliday memory museum, but he's like a celebrity now. Everybody knows he's Parzival. So Girl shows up as Goro from Mortal Kombat and meets him in a little secret place, and like a little alien thing bursts out of her chest, and it's a big goof because she chose it to do that. And she's like, you need to fucking conceal yourself. Everybody knows who you are now, and you need to be more careful. The robot butler Simon Pegg dude says, like, if you're right about that thing that you said, then I'll owe you something. So he goes and looks at it, and he's like, well, I guess you were right. And bing! Flicks him a coin. Akira Bike Girl tells Wade that she's gonna meet him at some place that's like a big club or something in the Oasis. So he's all worried, so he decides to, like, he wants to look good for her, so he, like, does a terrible fucking montage. Like a Pretty Woman montage of, like, dressing a different way. But it's basically just an excuse to use references! I could look like Michael Jackson from Thriller. I could look like this guy from that. I could look like the guy from Breakfast Club. Everybody in the club is different people, fucking references. Him and the girl end up, like, dancing in the middle of a floaty dance place in the middle of the club. They dance around. They decide to do like almost like a Dance Dance Revolution, but playing the Bee Gees, Staying Alive, which I kind of liked. But TJ Miller's dude sees him, fucks up the whole situation, calls the fucking cyber cops on him, and the girl like touches on his suit. Oh, you got one of those suits? Can you feel this? And he can feel her touching him in real life. Like, oh. Wade immediately tells the girl, like, I'm in love with you. And he says his real name in real life. He's like, my name's Wade. And she's like, that's not cool, dude. I'm out of here. You're bringing a lot of attention. You said your real name. That's not cool. I'm fucking out of here. While they're doing their weird dance thing, he, like, uses the Zemeckis Cube or something, and it gives him, like, extra seconds. Bad dude Mendelsohn says, let's meet. I need to meet you in real life. So they do, like, a virtual and real life meetup. Mendelsohn is real, and he is like his avatar. He says, you need to join me, that way we can do this, and this together, and blah. But they already have like an assassin guy in real life that's like hunting him down because they know his real name. And as soon as Wade says, no, I'm not going to be a part of your bullshit, he's like, well, I already know who you are, Wade Watson. And I already have a dude coming over to your place to fucking kill you and your people or whatever. I bet the book was better. As Wade is running back to the stacks to where he lives, he sees an explosion, and then, like, a assassin-type dude, like, chloroforms him or something. But when he wakes up, we see that the assassin guy wasn't a bad guy. He was just trying to get him to the place where there's a resistance. Akira Bike Girl is there. Then Wade and Girl finally meet up in real life, and she's got this birthmark on her face that she tries to cover up. And that's, like, a big hang-up for her, like, don't look at me. I've got this fucking birthmark. Like, you're still a very beautiful girl. Like, why the fuck would you worry? From something they're talking about, she figures out the museum thing, the other thing in Halliday's brain with their avatars, and they figure out that it's like The Shining. We need to get into The Shining. So they get into The Shining, but they basically are playing moments from the movie The Shining around these characters. H is surprised when all the weird shit in The Shining stuff happens. And it's supposed to be funny, but I didn't really think it was very funny. I thought it was cheesy and YA novel-ish. Part of the whole deal was that, like, Halliday never kissed the girl that he liked when he went on the date or something, so the dance, like, asking her to dance and a kiss is the key to the whole thing. So she does this weird thing that has nothing to do with Shining. There's a bunch of zombies dancing around in a fucking floating dance thing, and she jumps across, finds the girlfriend in the memory, and is like, all it takes is a kiss or something. So she gets the next key, and that's what everybody else is supposed to do, I guess, to figure out what the next key is. The Shining scenes were actually done really well. It was interesting. So, like, real life, Wade gets away from the people that have found him and the Resistance, and the other people, Birthmark Girl and other people meet up. There's a van, and it has H, and H is exactly who I thought it would be. It's a girl. Oh, she had been masking her voice to pretend that she was a man. Like, one of the Asian dudes, like, takes out one of the drones with a thing in real life. And then we meet the little kid, and he's like, yeah, I'm 11 years old, whatever. I can't tell people that, because that'd be a big weird thing. Boo! If anybody knew I was an 11-year-old kid, then they'd be treating me a certain way. Like, screw that. Nah. No, screw you, movie. I don't need that. So bad guys have gotten a Birthmark Girl in real life, and they've got her, like, in some weird chamber where she's got the VR glasses, so she is in servitude to the company. There's another T.J. Miller scene meeting up with Mendelssohn's avatar thing, and it's just the worst. T.J. Miller is not good in this. Apparently in this, like, super secret advanced place that they have her kept, all they need to tell her is just reach up and, like, pull a panel. They make a big old speech. We need your help. We're going to be going into that place, and whether or not we can do it, I need all of your help. We all have to do this together and shit. Nobody comes to their aid. Until a second later, when there's just a whole bunch of people fucking over the horizon that starts fucking helping them out. References! There's, like, fucking Battletoads, there's Batman, there's Ninja Turtles, there's Gundam, there's Halo, there's there's fucking, like, everything in the backgrounds that you could expect. One of the dudes says, take this, throws a fucking Chucky doll at him. What am I supposed to do? It's trying to kill me. He throws it into some other people. It just kills a bunch of the other guys on the battlefield. References! She figures out how to hack into fucking Mendelssohn's connection to things and use just the right words to turn the force field thing off. Bad guy opens up fucking Mechagodzilla, so he's riding in Mechagodzilla to fucking take out the good guys or whatever. And, like, one of the Asian dudes uses his special thing that's like, it's a Gundam. It shows up, it's a cool Gundam. It starts fighting fucking Mechagodzilla, and it's really cool. Very cool, but fucking boo. Like, it's just references. That's what this fucking movie is. I think one of the bad guys, like, bombs the bridge that's supposed to let them get to the castle thing that they're supposed to be at. Iron Giant becomes the bridge between the two fucking places and, like, sacrifices itself so that they can get across. One of them gets into a place and is able to kick Ben Mendelsohn in the fucking nuts, and he's got one of those suits where you feel everything, so he feels the nut kick. Like, why would there be a suit like that? Why would you want to feel the fucking pain of a nut kick? A bunch of the minions that were trying to figure out the last clue can't do it because they don't know that you need to go into this one old game and figure out, like, this one pixel that doesn't make sense and, like, bring it back to the beginning or something. Wade manages to do it, but then he's got the thing, but he's not able to put the last key into the hole because they're fucking him up. In real life, he's in a van. When Wade finally does get the key, goes into a place, and the avatar for Halliday is like, all you need to do is fill out these papers. And he's like, well, paperwork? No, that's not what this was all about. Wade gets taken to this weird place in Halliday's mind or reality, virtual something, where, like, he's there and he's got some other kid version of himself playing a game and tells Wade that if you want things to be a certain way, you can either shut this whole thing off or you can do things differently. He's in charge of the whole Oasis. He says you can only play on the Oasis during Tuesdays and Thursdays. Simon Pegg dude that was involved with Halliday at the beginning says, I just wanted somebody that was good that knew what they were doing. Turns out Simon Pegg was actually running that robot butler from the museum thing. Just trying to find the right person that could fucking do it or whatever. And that's the movie. Wade and his girl get to do their thing. He's better in control than other people that would have put a bunch of ads or something on it. This wasn't a bad movie. It was fun. It was very fun to watch. Visually amazing. Spectacular. Fucking spot on fucking CGI. The CG was the star of the show. Almost every time they did the live action stuff with the real actors, it wasn't as good. So they pretty much could have just done a whole CGI movie and it probably would have been better. I bet the book was better. References! There's a funny thing with the lead actor, the Wade Watts dude. He also was the new Cyclops. And I didn't even realize this until later. As Cyclops, he's got a visor that keeps his, that portion of his face covered. And in this movie, he also uses a visor to do the VR shit. Some Hollywood dude probably said, that guy's got a great nose and a mouth and a forehead. And we only need to see that because that's what's going to make him a star. It was a fun movie. Like I said, it was really, it was visually amazing. But man, they didn't figure out all the little ins and outs of the actual story. This isn't a movie for everyone. This is a movie for people between a certain younger age, a young adult age, but it also has a lot of references to 90s, early 2000s type of stuff that only older people would get. But that's it. It was mostly fun. I enjoyed a lot of it and hope maybe you'll watch it and get your own views on it or whatever. Leave me a comment. Let me know how you're feeling or thinking. Have you seen it? Do you want to see it? Who fucking cares? I love hearing what you guys have to say. Leave me a comment so I know how you guys are feeling. Peace out, everybody. We'll see if anybody comes to our aid. So they are, and if anybody knew that, if they have used, and he's still.